Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Before we head into the news in detail, here's a look at the headlines for today.
Channel head of Sirisa TV, Chandana Surya Bandara, bags the coveted Employee of the Year award of the Capital Maharaja Organisation. President Sirisena attends annual convention of the Capital Maharaja Organisation. Youth who served a prison sentence for vandalizing the Seagram mirror wall released. Police media unit states that an injured police officer from yesterday's protest march in Colombo has undergone surgery. Opposition members stage a protest at the Hikkaduwa Urban Council. Fast bowling coach Chaminda Was resigns from his post.
Chandana Surya Bandara, channel head of Sirisa TV, was selected as the Executive of the Year of the Capital Maharaja Organisation at a gala event held this evening. The Capital Maharaja Organisation's 38th annual convention for the 2014-2015 years commenced this evening under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
I am
the Maharajas.
the Maharajas.
We are the Maharajas.
The annual convention of the Capital Maharaja Organisation got underway at the Stein Studios in Ratmalana. The chief guest of the event was President Maithripala Sirisena. Many, including the executives of the Capital Maharaja Organisation, the Mahasangha, experts from various fields and politicians attended this year's annual convention. Many entertainment items added colour to the event.
ඔහු වෙලාවට මම පැවති රජයෙන් ඉවත් වෙලා පොදු අපේක්ෂකයා විදිහට
When I left the government and came forward as the common candidate, I thought I would be alone. On one hand, I thought I would be alienated. When I was embraced with a new sense of brotherhood and support, I must say that while those around me embraced me and you took on my election campaign, I must specially mention that the strength I got from blessings of the people of this country to make the constitutional changes, which are nationally and internationally recognizable, were further strengthened by your support. As a politician who is committed to protect the changes that you expected for the country, the transformations in society, the freedom and democracy that should be present in a country, the basic human rights that should be enjoyed by the people of a country, I truly appreciate the support given by your organization to help me create these transformations.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ඒ පරිවර්තනයන්ට ශක්තියක් දෙමින් ඔබේ ආයතනය මා වෙත ලබා දෙන්නා වූ ආශිර්වාදය මා ඊටාත්ම අගය කරනවා.
Now, who will join this illustrious list? Now, for 2014, who will be the one? That extraordinary one. Who will be the Executive of the Year?
The highlight of the event is the selection of the Executive of the Year. 5 executives of the Capital Maharaja Organisation were nominated for the coveted award. They were Sumit Kumara, CEO of P+, Chandana Surya Bandara, Channel Head Sirisa TV, Kingsley Ratnayaka, Channel Head Sirisa FM, Yasurat Kamalsiri, Director General Manager Newsfirst, and Nalaka Senavi Ratna.
The winner is Chandana.
It was Chandana Surya Bandara, channel head of Sirisa TV, who bagged the coveted Executive of the Year award for 2014-2015.
A special presidential task force on recovery of state assets was established today. The appointment letters of the 13 members of the special presidential task force on recovery of state assets were handed over today by President Maithripala Sirisena. The function was held at the presidential secretariat.
President's Counsel Jayampati Vikramaratne says that as a first step, one can be satisfied with the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. Vikramaratne made the statement while participating at a media discussion.
ජනාධිපතිවරයා තවදුරටත් රාජ්‍ය නායකයා ලෙසත් විධායක ප්‍රධානියා ලෙසත්
The President continues to function as the head of state, the head of the executive, the head of the government and a member of the cabinet as well as its head. The President's term of office and the period of Parliament have been reduced to 5 years. The President cannot dissolve Parliament at his sole discretion for the first 4.5 years of this term. Parliament can be dissolved only at the request of a two-thirds majority. The President's immunity has been limited with regard to his powers. The Supreme Court can summon the President on a fundamental rights application. The President can appoint the Prime Minister based on the fact that he commands the majority in Parliament. The President's power to remove the Prime Minister no longer exists. The Prime Minister can be removed through a simple majority in the event a no-confidence motion is presented. If the budget is defeated, the entire Cabinet and the Prime Minister will lose their positions. Cabinet Ministers, State Ministers and Deputy Ministers will be appointed by the President upon the recommendations of the Prime Minister. A dual citizen cannot contest parliamentary elections. I believe the powers have been reduced by 60 to 65%. The Supreme Court states that if the final action or decision is made by the President, a referendum is not required. Therefore, we can move forward without having to conduct a referendum.
Views were expressed on the 19th amendments to the Constitution at various media briefings and meetings held today.
I think Ranil Wickremesinghe was only trying to achieve his own objectives through this. I don't think even he has any idea about the effects this constitution would have on the country. This is why we say that the shortcomings of this constitution needs to be addressed and presented to the people in a positive way.
ඉතාමත්ම ඒකාධිකාරී පාලනයක් යටතේ මාධ්‍ය පවත්වා ගැනීම සඳහා
These amendments were presented in such a way that the media is controlled in a dictatorial manner. Some of these proposals were removed due to the pressure exerted by the opposition. President Maithripala Sirisena has created an opinion that it was Ranil Wickremesinghe who removed this clause included by those who wanted to suppress the media. They came with a knife to stab, but since the knife was taken away and thrown, they had to accept the situation.
නමුත් ඒ පිහිය විසි කරපු නිසා දැන් එයාට සිද්ධ වෙනවා මේක පිළි අරගන්න.
19 වෙනි අනුග්‍රහ ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය යටතේත් අල්ලාස්සා දූෂණ කමිෂනුන්ට කලින්ට වඩා
The Bribery Commission was given more powers through the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. However, within the legal system, we don't believe that the law will be tightly enforced against the stealing of public property. The death penalty can be imposed on those who are guilty of drug trafficking. We believe that there needs to be a stronger legal system. Therefore, we as a political force will do our utmost. I strongly believe that we have reached a juncture where we obtain a new mixed electoral system.
කේවල ක්‍රමයක් සමානුපාතික ක්‍රමයක් මිශ්‍ර කරපු අලුත් මැතිවරණ ක්‍රමයකට යන්න පුළුවන් තරකට දැන් අවිල්ලා ඉන්නවා කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
මේ රටේ ජනාධිපති ධූරයට පත් වෙන්න ආපු බොහෝ දෙනෙක් කිව්වා.
Many who contested for the presidency said they would change JR's constitution of 1978 within 24 hours of being elected. They said they would abolish the executive presidency, but all those who said so continue to stay on in office for 2 terms. The last president, Mahinda Rajapaksa, did not stop at 2. He wanted to continue as president until death and to be president in the afterlife too. Therefore, he brought in the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. However, during the election, President Maithripala Sirisena clearly said that he would work towards reducing the powers of the executive presidency. He did this arduous task. We were able to pass the 19th Amendment to the Constitution with only 1 vote against it.
බැරෑරුම් කාර්යයක් කරලා එක විරුද්ධ පක්ෂයට එක ඡන්දයක් පමණක් යමින් මේ 19 වෙනි ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය සම්මත කරගන්නට පුළුවන්කම ලැබුණා.
It was the executive president himself who worked most to abolish the executive presidency. There is one more victory to achieve. That is a change of electoral system through the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. Sometime we may not be able to implement this at the next election. That is all right. Let it be approved.
අපිට මේ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න බැරි වේවි. කමක් නැහැ. සම්මත කරලා තියන්න, අනුමත කරලා තියන්න.
The Right to Information Bill, which was once again presented by the Prime Minister with amendments, has been approved by the Cabinet. The statement informing Cabinet decisions reads that a decision was taken to table the bill in Parliament under general procedures.
Expressing their vehement objections in Parliament recently, opposition MPs charged that the Prime Minister had forwarded the Right to Information Bill to the Supreme Court without first presenting the bill in Parliament. However, at the previous Cabinet meeting, the Right to Information Bill received the approval of the Cabinet. The bill was taken up for discussion yet again at the Cabinet meeting convened yesterday. Various organizations and institutions had submitted revisions to be incorporated in the bill. However, instead of presenting these proposed amendments during the committee stage in Parliament, the Prime Minister had presented an amended draft bill for Cabinet consideration yesterday. Accordingly, the Cabinet had approved the amended Right to Information Bill. Incidentally, the right to information has been accepted as a fundamental right by way of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. The police media unit states that a police officer sustained injuries while attempting to disperse demonstrators who engaged in a protest march organized by the Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation has undergone surgery. It notes that 2 university students have been arrested in connection with the incident.
2 police officers sustained injuries yesterday when attempting to prevent a group of protesters who forcibly entered the University Grants Commission premises. The 2 injured officers were Police OIC attached to the Cinnamon Garden Police and a sub-police inspector attached to the Dematagoda Police. According to the police media unit, the sub-inspector, who is receiving treatment at the National Hospital in Colombo, had undergone surgery. The police OIC has been treated at the police hospital. Here are footage from the protest that took place yesterday.
We are in the process of identifying the perpetrators through the video footage that we have obtained, and measures will be taken to arrest them.
Views regarding yesterday's protests were expressed at 2 separate media briefings held today.
Buddhist monks were injured in the protest. Apart from those who have received treatment and were discharged, the convener of the Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation and 5 Buddhist monks are still receiving treatment at the National Hospital. Now, after they assault students and protesters like this, the government says that their policemen were wounded.
Although there is a president in the country and he has sufficient powers, it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who comes forward to exercise these powers. Therefore, today we have a Ranil state or a Kin Ranil. The first incident we saw under the rule of Kin Ranil is a tear gas attack on monks. They used tear gas to chase away the monks. These are Buddhist leaders. By attacking them, Kin Ranil has committed a serious wrong. That is all we have to say.
The young girl who was serving a 2-year prison term for scribbling on the ancient mirror wall at Sigiriya was released today.
The 17-year-old girl was arrested on the 14th of February this year for scribbling on the mirror wall of Sigiriya with a hairpin while on an education excursion from Kalmunay. The Rambun magistrate later handed a 2-year prison sentence for her actions. Sinnatambi Udesiri, a resident of Sittandi Batiklo, was granted a presidential pardon upon the request of her mother. My daughter was handed a 2-year prison sentence for writing on the Sigiriya mirror wall. We suffered and were in distress because of this. The media was very vocal about my daughter's release, especially Newsfirst.
I would first like to thank the President. I would also like to thank everyone who spoke on behalf of my sister's release.
The 17-year-old girl expressed the following views upon her release from Anuradhapura prison this morning. My actions were wrong. I will never do something like this again. Nobody should. A lot of people helped me. I would also like to thank all the ministers, especially the President, for releasing me. A tense situation erupts at the Valikada prison. 27 inmates killed in the incident. A 3-member committee appointed to investigate the incident. The 3-member committee announces that it will provide a report within a period of 3 weeks. Minister of Justice of the new government appoints another 3-member committee to look into the Valikada incident. The Commission of the Valikada prison and several others called to provide evidence in the month of February. Where is the committee report?
The Colombo High Court sentenced 5 persons to death today after having found them guilty of a murder that was committed 14 years in the Badagana area.
The 5 individuals to whom the death sentences were handed were also residents of the Badagana area. The Attorney General's Department had charged the 5 accused with having abducted an individual from his residence down a lane in Badagana in 2001 and have killed him by beating him to death with poles. In the course of announcing the death sentence, the High Court judge stated that the charges had been proven beyond reasonable doubt.
In the meantime, Hambantota Mayor Eraj Ravindra Fernando was placed in remand custody until the 13th of next month. The order for the mayor to be placed in remand custody was made when he was presented before the Hambantota District Court.
The mayor of Hambantota was arrested by the Colombo Crimes Division yesterday on the charge of threatening the officer in charge of the Ambalangoda police station in March last year and obstructing his official duties by attempting to forcibly removing a suspect from police custody. The mayor, who was placed in remand custody yesterday, was further remanded today when he was presented before court this morning. The magistrate ordered the accused to be placed in remand custody until the 13th of next month. The magistrate also ordered that those suspects who were involved in the incident to be arrested and be produced to court. The lawyers appearing for the accused made submissions to court that the accused was not of sound health and was therefore in need of medication.
The procession carrying sacred relics to the Sirasa John Keel's Vesak zone has reached Naramala. The relics will be placed at the Matiyangane Mayuravati Rajamahavihara in Naramala.
The Amisa Puja, which initiates the celebrations of the Sirasa John Keel's Vesak zone commemorating the 3 stages of Lord Buddha's life, will take place at the MTVMBC head office premises located at Braybrook Street, Colombo 2. The sacred hair relic of Lord Buddha and the relics of the Maharahat Theras were brought to the Nelligala International Buddhist Center, where the Mahasangha presided over religious observances and rituals. The procession reached the Riddhi Viharya in Kurunagala last night. The vehicle procession carrying the sacred relics recommenced its journey from the Riddhi Viharya in Kurunagala at around 7:45 a.m. today. Many devotees gathered on roadsides to pay homage to the relics that travelled through Talgodapitiya Junction and Ibba Gamua. The Dhamma book, including a number of gathas, were distributed among devotees along the way.
මගේ ආදරණීය දුවල පුතාලත් හරි හුඟක් පින් කරපු බව මට හැඟෙනවා.
ඇයි ඉතින් මල් පහන් පූජා කරගත්තා. හිත සන්තෝෂයි. මේ සීලසට ස්තුතියි. ගොඩාක් හොඳ වැඩසටහනක් මේ රටේ ඉන්න සියලු දෙනාට මේ පාරේ ඉන්න ඔක්කොම දෙනා ලොකු පුණ්‍ය කර්මයක් මේ වෙනුවෙන් කරගත්තා.
The
procession carrying the sacred relics, which concluded its journey in Naramalla today, will recommence from the Mayuravati Rajamahavihare tomorrow morning. The procession will reach the Ganekanda Puran Rajamahavihara, travelling via Dambadeniya, Giriulla, Diulpitiya and the Nilpanagoda junction. The procession is to reach the Sirasa John Keel's Vesak zone at the MTV head office premises located at Braybrook Street, Colombo 2 on the 3rd of next month.
The Conservative Party of the United Kingdom, which is Britain's main centre-right party, in its manifesto noted that it wishes to promote reconciliation and human rights in Sri Lanka. This is incidentally the first time that Sri Lanka has been mentioned in a UK election manifesto. As part of its vision to strengthen its relations on the world stage, the manifesto states that it is aimed at promoting reconciliation and human rights in Sri Lanka, including through supporting the UN investigation into war crimes. The party, which is led by current Prime Minister David Cameron, who was incidentally the first leader to travel to the north since gaining independence in 2009, has continuously stressed on reconciliation and human rights in Sri Lanka.
A tense situation arose at the Hikkadua Urban Council when a group of opposition party members, led by the opposition leader, staged a protest.
The group of urban councillors conducting the protest stated that an ambulance had been obtained by a non-governmental organisation for the use of the Hikkadua Urban Council 3 years ago. The protesters charged that the ambulance was used by the chairman of the Urban Council for personal reasons. We received the ambulance 3 years ago and it was used for almost 1 month. However, chairman of the Hikkadua Urban Council, Winnie Karyavasam, used this vehicle for nearly 2 years and 11 months after certain parts of the vehicle worth 100,000 rupees were removed and left in a garage. We complained to the Chief Minister and the Commissioner, but it was of no use. Then we complained to the police and yesterday we decided to stage a protest. The incident came up for discussion during council sessions. The chairman of Hikkadua refuted the allegations. We thought of making use of this vehicle for the council since it is deteriorating. As this is a tourist zone, there's a lot of work to be done. We have 3 TOs. We receive complaints every day and we have to look into these complaints. 3-wheelers have to be used for transportation purposes. Hence we are using this vehicle for urban council work. They are creating an unnecessary situation here because they have nothing else to do. They envy the work we do.
Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajith Premadasa says that the program to provide loans to low-income families will be accelerated. The minister made this statement while participating at a function in the Lunugambehera area today.
The function was held to provide 376 families 100,000 rupees each at a concessionary rate at a Devarambehera area which comes under the purview of the Lunugambehera Divisional Secretariat. Today, a national movement has built up to topple Sajith Premadasa. However, even the former president was not able to topple Sajith Premadasa. Therefore, those minions who are on the sidelines cannot topple Sajith Premadasa. From the day the Samurdhi program was initiated, loans have been provided to Samurdhi members. Those who were not Samurdhi members were provided loans as well. Several elements are scared that this process will be a political challenge. I wish to state that no matter what allegations, be it bribery allegations or otherwise, are levelled against me, and I am sent to prison and condemned to death, I will not stop this program.
Western Provincial Councillor Jayantha De Silva states if children are given a proper education, they will have a bright future. He expressed these views at a ceremony held at Asoka Vidyalaya in Maradana today.
2 school buses were presented to Asoka Vidyalaya in Maradana under the Sisu Sarya program. Children are our country's future. It is only if they are educated properly that our country can develop and all obstacles before the country can be overcome. We know that there are children who study in schools, but we see them when we visit prison or they are engaged in various campaigns. But if there's a good education system, then there's nothing to worry. These children will have a bright future.
On to Newsfirst. According to 2014 Central Bank annual report, Sri Lanka's economy grew by 7.4% last year. The economic growth for the year 2013 was 7.2%.
According to a release issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the 2014 annual report was handed over to the Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake yesterday by Central Bank Governor Arujana Mahendran. At the beginning of the year 2014, the economic growth of Sri Lanka had increased by 7.8%. However, the growth had declined to 7.4% by the end of the year and had remained so. The report stated that the main reason for this decline was due to the agriculture sector not recording an anticipated growth. The report revealed that the decline in the agricultural sector was owing to bad weather. According to the 2014 Central Bank annual report, Sri Lanka's economy grew by 7.4% in 2014, with the industry sector growing by 11.4% and the agriculture sector by 0.3% and the service sector by 6.5%. The annual report also reflects the overall fiscal deficit increased to 6% of the GDP in 2014 from 5.9% of the GDP in the previous year as a result of the continued shortfall in revenue collection. Nevertheless, public debt as a percentage of GDP declined to 77.5% by the end of last year from 78.3% the year before.
The National Workshop for the formulation of the 10-year National Action Plan from 2015 to 2025 for the social development of the plantation community was held in Colombo today.
The key objective of the National Action Plan is to reduce the poverty level in the plantation sector, improve the standard of living and enable the plantation community to enjoy the social economic rights. Adding that over R1 million allocation has been approved by the Cabinet today for each house which was affected by the media by the landslide last year, Deputy Minister Harshad Silva also spoke about some of the aspects of the plantation sector.
I am telling you, however much we say poverty levels have come down, education levels have gone up, everything is hunky-dory, I don't buy that argument. It is not good enough to create a competitive economy. If our people in the plantation sector are only going to be plucking 2 leaves and a bud and doing nothing much else, right? Those are not competitive assets. So we have to make sure that in your 10-year plan, that something much more than what they have been having for the last 500 years must be given to them, right? They have been restricted and entrapped in this vocation. So what are we going to give them? What are they going to do? So that must be dynamic, and it must be linked to what is our country going to do? Where is our country going to go?
A plan not just to protect the social development programs targeting the estate community, but to ensure improvement and also to be of sustainable nature should be the focus during the implementation. A lot had been said about the reduction of poverty levels, improvement of primary education, improvement of the maternal health, environmental sustainability, etc., which are prime importance to any society. The visionary approach that was there has been basically completely diminished, and it is time that we start this back again, getting the country back into order.
There are some areas the disparity and inequality is rising, and the disparity and the level of development in different parts of the country needs much more significant and tighter attention. Some areas, particularly the area of nutrition, the country is not on track with the MDGs, and we're in the last year. If you have heard some of the figures. If you take malnutrition and stunting, in Sri Lanka, every 4th child suffers from that. But in the plantation areas, this is even worse. Every 3rd child suffers from malnutrition and stunting. Plantation areas also have started suffering that children are dropping out of school the malnutrition, children dropping out of school, youth not liking to stay there, that needs to be addressed, and we believe that a comprehensive plan would help looking into the issue, looking into the challenges in a compassionate way, but in a pragmatic way, and also from the position of rights of citizens.
Join us to build the country. The Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity.
Is this your first draft that was formulated by you?
Oh no, as I said, an initial draft was done long before the election.
On whose wish was the amendment drafted? President or the Prime Minister?
The whole thing was based on the election manifesto.
19th Amendment, will it be a success story?
Well, I hope so. I cannot predict the future.
Do you think Sri Lanka, 19th Amendment to the Constitution, there is some sort of international interference?
The inside story on the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, Sunday at 9:30 p.m. on MTV Sports.
As relief efforts get underway in Nepal, the President and Prime Minister of Nepal have commended the assistance provided to their country by Sri Lanka, saying that it is only in tragedy that one can find a true friend. These sentiments were expressed when a delegation, including Minister of Disaster Management H.M. Fauzi, met the President of Nepal yesterday.
The delegation, which included the Minister of Disaster Management, touched down in Nepal yesterday to observe the progress made by the Sri Lankan relief teams that were dispatched to Nepal to attend to those who were affected by the recent earthquake that left thousands dead and displaced. The delegation had also met with the President of Nepal. During this meeting, the Prime Minister of Nepal had noted that no sooner had the natural disaster occurred that Sri Lanka had mobilized its resources to assist Nepal in whatever way it could. According to the President's media unit, Nepal President Rambaran had said that he truly appreciated the efforts made during these extremely trying times. In the meantime, a further team of 98 persons, including doctors, assistants and members of the Sri Lanka Armed Forces, made their way to Kathmandu yesterday.
The ceremony marking the 21st anniversary since the defeat of the apartheid reign in South Africa was held in Colombo yesterday. The event, which was organized by the High Commission of South Africa to Sri Lanka, saw the participation of a cross-section of representatives, including heads of missions, MPs and politicians.
Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa's Special Envoy to Sri Lanka, has restated that our engagement and support for Sri Lanka will continue. It is the intention of the Special Envoy to visit Sri Lanka at the invitation of the Sri Lankan government soon after the parliamentary elections. You can also be assured of South Africa's continued support for your constitution-making processes, especially with the engagement of South Africa's Special Envoy to Sri Lanka. In response to an invitation of the government, Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Honorable Nomaindia Mfeketo, led a high-level delegation of South African senior legal and constitutional experts to Sri Lanka, and this will be followed by the visit of the Special Envoy.
A book authored by Shakti TV journalist Uma Chandra Prakash was launched at the Capital Maharaja Organization Auditorium in Colombo yesterday.
The book titled Pettagam covers a wide range of topics including history, archaeology, the arts, biology and culture. The book is published by Veera Kesari. The book launch took place under the auspices of Deputy Principal of the Co-Pay Teachers Training College S. Lalian. Senior journalist and editor Annalaxmi Rajature was a guest of honor, while Vice Chancellor of the Japan University, Vasanta Arasaratnam, was a special guest. The first copy of the book was presented to the chairperson of the Sri Lanka Women's Association, Neela Dayabaran.
Chaminda Vas has tendered his resignation as fast bowling coach of the national cricket team.
The former Sri Lankan pace bowler had notified Sri Lanka Cricket of this decision through a letter. Vas, who retired from international cricket in 2011, took over as a fast bowling coach of the national team in 2013.
Well, that's a wrap for Primetime News at 9. It was an absolute pleasure having you with us. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Shen Silva. Take care and good night.